Sup everyone, alright, not sup everyone. Sup you chuckle fucks, it's your boy Dark Raikou here with What If Issei was a descendant of Sparta, part 5. The battle between the arrogant ass chicken. But not the point. Let me begin into this. What if, let me shut the fuck up. I know I kind of record this, I guess, I want to say 10 hours ago. I didn't really get good sleep last night because, yeah. I woke up this morning because people were calling me. I literally heard the Rick kind of theme song. That's because I kind of just put my siblings mostly call every time they call me as a Rick Roll theme song because I know I'm gonna get annoyed. So yeah, but not the point. Also, I should I just want to go block them so they wouldn't call me. Well, not block them. Mostly just mute my phone so when I get called later, you won't need to hear the theme song. But that's not the point. Let me begin into this what if. Let me shut the fuck up and let me start into this what if. So, we begin into mostly Issei showing up towards mostly the ORC. Mostly Reyes was very worried in where the hell Issei was at. Even so, not even question, but when Issei kind of walked through the doors, he looked completely different. His hairstyle kind of changed to being mostly brownish hair to be slicked back. Similar to that Aizen. Think of it like Aizen from, what's it called, Bleach. So it kind of looks like that. One of his hairlines is kind of like one of his bangs is in front of his face. But yeah, his brownish eyes is still kind of his goldenish brown eyes. They will change later, but don't worry about that. He's basically wearing this bluish, this dark kind of blue outfit that mostly Vergil wears. Like the mostly the dark blue coat, the kind of button-up shirt, mostly it's like a black button-up shirt. This is where, well, he's wearing these blackish kind of dark blue pants. And of course, to wear it well, he also is wearing kind of black boots. Does it wear it well? He doesn't seem to be having a sword next to him or any type of weapon. Actually, he does. Behind him, he has two guns. Well, yeah, two guns that are actually created. One of them is Blue Rose, the other one I will mention later. Now, he also does have one of his hands actually covered up in bandages. That will be for later on, but don't worry about that. Or not bandages, he just has it normally. But this is where it will, or yeah, in bandages, don't worry about that. This is where it will. His other arm, his what's it called? A right arm is normal, but yeah. This is where, well, behind him, he actually has an assault rifle. Don't worry about why he has an assault rifle. You would just need to know that later details, but don't worry about that. This is where, well, he also kind of has, well, nothing else much, but yeah. He doesn't have a sword that I will mention where he will actually keep the sword, but that's not the point. He also has his book with him. He's right now having that in his left hand with his bandages hand. This is where, well, he kind of walks into the door without even looking at anyone. He just looks at his book and closes it and looks at everyone after a while and then opens his book back again. Everyone looks so dumbfounded at Issei's new appearance. I should also mention that Issei is no longer 5'10", but the height of being 6'5" or 6'6", no. Yeah, wait. So he's actually 6'3". Well, not 6'3", 6, I'm gonna say 6'5". He's quite tall, and of course he looks completely different. His face is much more kind of paler, but still handsomer. This is where, well, Issei just barely looks at anyone. This is where when Sona and even Sabaki saw this, their faces almost became red. Same with what's it called, Rias and even Akano, Kanako, and mostly Asuya. Kiba was just dumbfounded to see that this is Issei. And when Issei is right now sitting on the couch, well, no one says a single fucking word because Issei just walks in here, just strolls in here, saying absolutely nothing, being so quiet that you would have thought that this man would have started acting perverted after a while. But no, he's just so quiet, so different. His aura is all of it different. This is where, well, Issei kind of noticed that Grace B appears, and this is where when Grace B says, Rias, mostly she kind of asked for Rias to see if she's ready for the rating games. This is where, well, Rias snapped out of her kind of trance after seeing Issei and just kind of nodded, saying, yes, I'm fine. This is where, well, mostly Rias is just still looking at Issei just with just dumbfounded expression. What did those 10 days gave him? What happened towards Issei? Who knows? But this is where, well, the rating game starts, and this is where, well, the battle between Riser Phoenix and mostly Rias Grimmer are kind of preparing, mostly having a prepared time. This is where, well, Rias kind of sees mostly her barrage and Issei. Issei looks like he doesn't really care and what's happening, right now reading his goddamn book, and this is where he reads one of the poems quietly enough. But this is where, well, it pretty much just says, what's it called? Well, he doesn't say a poem because you realize I just suck at poems, but don't worry about that. He just says a poem quietly and no one else heard it, but yeah. This is where, well, Rias decides to kind of go on with mostly the plan. So her plan is still like an original canon. It's just she doesn't know the skills of Issei's. So of course she wants actually Issei to be kind of a supported character. But this is where Issei doesn't pay attention to her. Actually her supported character, but that went out the window in an instant. He doesn't seem like a supported character at all. He seems more like a fighter and other stuff. But of course he's not going to mention any skills or anything towards mostly this barrage. Because this isn't even his barrage. He just showed up because why the fuck not? But yeah. But this is where, well, Issei kind of sees everyone leaving. This is where, well, Rias asks Issei to come over here and lay on her lap. Issei kind of just looks at her and says, nah, I'm good. This is where, well, Issei was about to start walking away until Rias says, Issei, come back. I need to release the palm pieces from your body. Mostly, well, release the power that was still inside you. This is where, well, Issei says, oh, palm pieces. Right, you know what, I'm gonna get a bit scared. This is where Issei turns around and says, okay, then go release them. You gotta lay on my lap first. Good. Just release it right now. This is where Rias tries to release it until she realizes one thing. Issei has no longer the 8 palm pieces. This is where she looks at Issei with widened eyes, and Issei just kind of looks at her with an emotionless, uncalculating eyes. Issei says, you released them already? Good, I'm out of here. Issei walks away in an instant, didn't even care what her plan is. Rias has a horrified looking expression in her face, because one thing is confusing to her. First of all, Issei doesn't have the palm pieces, which is confusing because he would have died. But he has a different energy entirely. She actually managed to felt it, and it was much more powerful than anything she ever felt. It's much more sinister, and actually felt quite a strong sense for her to get away, like a danger sense. But this is where Issei disappears. This is where, well, Issei is right now running through the forest, right now kind of dodging some of the traps that Kiba and what's it called, Akano set, and also Kaneko. But this is where, well, Issei kind of ran past what's it called, Kiba, seeing Kiba, and this is where Kiba says, huh? What the hell was that? Issei says, don't worry about that. This is where, well, Issei kind of just screamed while running away, and this is where, well, Kiba says, Issei? What the? Did the plan change? This is where, well, Kiba tried to contact Rias, and this is where Rias managed to snap out and say, no, the plan didn't, wait, what is Issei doing? This is where, well, Kiba says, I don't know. This is where, well, we go into Issei kind of seeing mostly like 8 palm pieces right now, kind of splitting up, mostly the risers. And before they even split up, Issei pulls down his assault rifle, and this is where, well, he aims the scope, and this is where, well, he says, jackpot. Ba 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 ba. This is where he shot all the palm pieces down in an instant. Single shot, and actually hit them either in the arm, shoulder, somewhere in the stomach, not hitting any vital points, but just hitting them all. This is where, well, all of them were gunned down in an instant. Issei still has ammo, but this is where he then just puts it into a dimensional gap. Mostly not dimensional gap, mostly a dimensional space, mostly made out of shadows. This is where, well, Issei walks out with the cane. Don't worry about that. Issei is right now holding his book and just walking out. This is where, well, he just says, But he doesn't care. He's walking with the cane. Don't worry about that. Or not a cane. He's just walking with the book out, being the V book. This is where Issei says, well, the sun shines down upon everyone, while the birds are singing and the flowers are blooming. On days like these, people like you, Issei closes his book in an instant, shall be burning in hell. Or shall be, yeah, burning in hell. This is where, well, Issei kind of looks in front of him, and it's actually 2 rooks and mostly 2 knights behind them. This is where, well, mostly Ryzen had to change up the plan in an instant. This is where, or had to, because mostly 8 palm pieces were eliminated instantly. He doesn't even know how, but one of them must be strong. One of Issei's, or not Issei, mostly one of Ria's mostly Purge members. Or she probably got more. He doesn't understand. This is where, well, we go into mostly Issei looking at the mostly members in front of him, and this is where he closes the book and snaps his fingers. This is where Griffin appears out of nowhere and sending lightning bullets from mostly his wings. This is where, well, mostly sending lightning from his body. This is where, well, multiple of them had to dodge. A rook rushes straight towards Issei to try to punch him. Issei dodges in an instant and right now kneeing her in the stomach. While he dodges to the right and like knee her with the left knee. This is where, well, she was knocked out. She just like, her air that was in her body just went out of her body and it's like, This is where, Issei says, I'm sorry there, miss, but you have lost already. Issei kind of hit her in the back of the neck and knocking her out. She was eliminated. This is where, the others tried to attack Issei, that being one of the knights, and this is where it's Isabella, and this is where Isabella tries to attack Issei. Issei says, you're quite pretty. Well, Issei kind of takes off her mask a little bit and says, you are quite beautiful without that burned skin. I might help you in the near future if you want to be helped. This is where her face becomes a little bit red until Issei just kind of knocked her out in an instant by just kind of putting a little bit of lightning into her like kind of head, like poking her in the head, and this is where she's knocked out. This is where, the others try to attack Issei, but this is where Issei says, Shadow. He then swings his like left hand to the left of him, and this is where Shadow appears, right now kind of like clawing both of them down. This is where, both Rook and Knight were eliminated. This is where, Riser is right now kind of punching the table down because he's angry, seeing, all 8 pawn pieces eliminated. 2 rooks and 2 knights were also eliminated. This is where Reyes is shocked and dumbfounded to hear that mostly some of the pieces from Riser is getting eliminated way too fast. This is where Issei sees a bishop just walking while mostly being protected by the queen, and the queen notices and tells the bishop to kind of support her. This is where before the bishop can even support, Issei pulls out a fucking revolver and aims the gun straight towards the bishop's line of view and blast. 2 bullets mostly just flung past, or mostly fly past the queen of Riser, and hits the bishop mostly in the 2 shoulders, right now eliminating her in an instant. Issei says, well, at least you don't have no more support. Also, Griffin appears right now next to most of the queen, and the queen dodges in an instant before she can even get caught. But this is where, the Griffin fly back towards mostly Issei in an instant, and this is where he lands a potion right now in Issei's hand. Issei says, sorry, but I can't give you this Phoenix tears. You know, they're quite helpful, but, eliminating you faster would be much better. This is where, mostly the queen widened her eyes to see the Phoenix tears. This is where when she looks out, she sees it's gone. This is where she looks at Issei, and Issei pulls out 2 guns out from his back. This is where one of them is the revolver, while the other one is like a black kind of, like a black golden desert eagle. And this is where, Issei says, say hello to, Blue Rose and Black Death, or mostly Black Golden Death. This is where, Issei puts both of his guns in front of him and starts kind of blasting. This is where, she tries to make a what's called fire magic kind of shield in front of her, but this is where the bullets just kind of like pierces through the fire shield and instantly hitting her. This is where she couldn't use any healing magic because she was already too weak. So many bullets just landed into her body. This is where she was actually kind of getting eliminated instantly. This is where, Graceby says, Riser's queen has been eliminated in an instant. This is where Riser was right now enraged and right now sending so much bloodlust through the kind of mostly building that he was in. This is where he also blew it up with fire. When Rhea saw this, she was surprised and horrified how powerful Issei is. This is where Issei puts back his guns and just kind of walking around, kind of still having his book, while Griffin is right now being in the air, made out of lightning. Or not made out of lightning, kind of just flying around. This is where, Issei is looking around. When I've been carrying, he's just walking towards, mostly where the Phoenix is at. This is where, someone right now landed in front of him, like if it was a fireball or like a meteor, and this is where Issei jumped back, and this is where, someone came out of the crater and looked at Issei and says, you! This is where, he growls at Issei. Issei looks at mostly the fire chicken, the roasted fire chicken, and this is where Issei says, hello there, may I help you, you arrogant ass fried chicken? This is where, mostly Riser glares at Issei right now with a fury, this like burning fury in his eyes. Issei says, do you need some help? Or do you want me to give you directions about how to lose? This is where Riser glares at him and says, "What is your name?" Issei says, "What is my name? Oh, well, my name is..." Issei decides to finally talk. This is where, he's still reading his poem. This is where, Issei says, "Oh, but I am..." This is where, let me say it again. This is where, Issei says, "Oh, but I have no name. I am just 2 days old." This is where Riser looks at him confused. Issei then closes his book and then looks at mostly Riser with a smirk on his face. "Just kidding. You can call me V." This is where, mostly, right now the bird that's right now next to Issei kind of just chuckles at how Issei kind of worded that. It kind of reminded him straight up of V, mostly a long time ago. This is where Issei kind of just looks at Riser and Riser kind of glares at him. And this is where, Issei has a smirk. Well, mostly Riser's glaring at him saying, "Tell me your name, you brat, so I can burn you alive, and then I'll take risks for myself," and blah, 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 blah. This is where, Issei said, "Oh, I would love for you to try, but you would not be able to. You're too weak against me." This is where Riser glares at Issei, and this is where, Riser right now sends fire straight towards Issei, until mostly Griffin appears right now sending lightning in front of him, like a lightning shield, blocking the fireballs. This is where Riser glares at the lightning bird, while the lightning bird just smirks at mostly Riser also. Issei said, "Well, it's time for me to start the show and mostly kick your ass, shouldn't I?" Issei pulls out his blue revolver right now in front of him, called Blue Rose, and starts kind of blasting Riser in the head. Mostly not in the head, mostly blasting him in the side of the arm. This is where This is where Riser, he tries to regen, but then feels his arm not being regenerating, looking at Issei with widened eyes, thinking that the revolver is dangerous towards him. This is where he sends fire from his left hand in an instant, but this is where, Issei jumped out of the way. Issei kind of got carried up to the air by mostly his griffin. This is where, mostly Issei is right now in the air. Of course, he can use his wings, but don't worry about that. Mostly Riser looks at this and thinks that Issei can't fly, so of course he thinks this is a chance. So of course, he then kind of flies up trying to rush towards Issei. Issei says Griffin. This is where Griffin understood, right now transforming into a lightning blade in Issei's kind of like right hand, because Issei is right now using his right hand. This is where he then puts his blue revolver back to mostly his back pockets, and this is where, his hand right now just starts to start crackling with purple lightning, showing his mostly demonic arm, double arm. And this is where, Issei says lightning, mostly thunder eagle. Yeah, that's what's gonna be called, thunder eagle. This is where, it's a gun. It's like a desert eagle, and this is where Issei kind of mostly was let go, of course, because Griffin was turned into a blade, and Issei cuts a mostly lightning slash straight towards Riser's chest. Riser coughs up some blood, and this is where Issei puts the lightning revolver straight towards Riser's kind of like throat and blows it. This is where, mostly Riser coughs up some blood because his regeneration is right now putting up to work. And this is where, it's kind of burning his cells a little bit thanks to the lightning, because it doesn't really work with fire and lightning, doesn't really make great pair. But this is where, he's right now going to attack Issei in mid-air to hit him with the fire attack, until mostly the lightning blade itself turns into the griffin and right now holds Issei's arm and right now flies him around Riser, so of course Riser wouldn't be able to hit him. This is where Riser winds his eyes and glares at Issei. Issei says Griffin. Griffin understood and lets go of Issei. Issei was going to fall down to the ground, until when he was about to fall, he did a kind of barrel roll so he can land softly onto the ground. Issei then slides and looks at Riser up in the air. Riser is glaring at Issei with such a menacing glare. Issei then snaps his finger and says, "Nightmare." This is where Nightmare appears right in front of him, and this is where Nightmare sends a laser beam straight towards Riser. Riser winds his eyes and almost gets right now just obliterated by the laser. This is where, Riser glares at Issei until the Nightmare is gone and Issei is gone. This is where mostly Riser winds his eyes and says, "Where the hell did he..." This is where, Riser was going down to the air, kind of thinking that he will be fine because he's an immortal bird. He's thinking he's an immortal bird, but right now it's kind of unnerved with Issei. Issei is quite tricky, and this is where, before Riser can react to do anything, mostly Issei appears through some trees right now, summoning out the 3 bow staff, and right now smashing one of the ends of the bow staff into Riser and smashing him through the trees, just kind of just cracking multiple trees and kind of smashing them out. This is where, well, a barrage of mostly, well, Reyes' barrage managed to get close towards where the battle will be happening. Riser barrage, or well, mostly Riser versus Issei. And this is where, well, Riser appears out of the thin air, kind of flying past him. And this is where, well, he smashes into the ground. This is where he gets up. So this is where he gets hit by destruction magic, and this is where, well, it doesn't really hurt him because he's an immortal phoenix. And this is where, well, he kind of grins at Reyes and saying, "Oh, you came to my hands. Good to know. I just gotta kill you, and that bastard will be, well, who'll lose." This is where, well, Koneko, Akano, and even what's it called Kiba were in front of Reyes. And mostly Riser grins in an instant. This is where Riser throws a bishop piece towards mostly Reyes. And this is where all of them were confused. And this is where Riser says, "Switch." This is where, well, he switches the kind of piece to actually appear right in front of what's it called Reyes. This is where he grins in an instant, but before doing anything, right now a bird appears, kind of grabbing Reyes in an instant from the shoulders and kind of picking her up and flying up. This is where in lightning speed, Riser winds his eyes, and this is where Issei appears right in front of him. Right now having the boosted gear, Issei says, "Sup, motherfucker." Well, not the boosted gear, but just having his devil arm. His devil arm changes into this blue color. Because, yeah, he has multiple devil arms and they just change colors. Issei right now punches Riser in the face so hard, clocking him out so, well, not what's it called? Well, yeah, that's one of his devil arms, but just clocking him so hard and launching his shit towards, we'll see, past what's it called, Akano, Koneko, and even what's it called, Kiba. Both of them, or all three of them, wind their eyes. Even Reyes. Issei right now had his hand kind of glowing with this like waterish aura color and kind of tree nature color, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei said, "Hope that hurt you, bitch." This is where Riser is right now feeling like he's getting burned in his face because it's literally water on his face. Riser explodes with fire and says, "I'm going to kill you! I don't care, V! I'll defeat you now!" All of them looks confused, mostly all of Reyes barrage. Riser doesn't care if this person's named V or not. He doesn't give a damn. And this is where Issei grins at mostly Riser and says, "Do you think that you will be able to defeat me? At your state, you can barely defeat anyone." This is where Riser still sees the bishop piece underneath him. He decides to throw it straight towards Issei, thinking Issei won't react or anything. But before anything happens, Issei right now kind of changes his double arm into a sword. Mostly it changed to a different color, being kind of reddish bluish. And this is where a sword appears. Issei pulls down the sword, mostly the sheath, out of it. And of course, showing off the blade, and when the bishop piece was about to get closer, Issei cuts the bishop piece in an instant. This is where, well, cutting it in half and destroying it in an instant. The demonic magic that was in the double, mostly bishop piece right now was cut in half. This is where it was no longer usable. This is where when Riser saw this, he whined his eyes. Everyone whined their eyes. Issei has this sword and it's quite powerful. This is where, well, Issei did call the name out, but quietly saying Yamato. This is where, well, Issei kind of like looks at Riser with a smirk on his face, and this is where Issei says, "Oh, you're wondering what this blade is called? Let me tell you, Riser. This sword is called Yamato. The blade that can cut through anything, that can destroy anything, that can even slaughter devils in an instant, faster than any holy weapon that ever was created by anyone. You see here, this demonic blade was created by a very powerful devil, long time ago, and the reason why I can hold it is because I am a descendant of that man. But that is not the point. If you want to know who I am, well, I'll tell you. My name is Vergil Sparda, and I am the one who's going to show you this devil's power." This is where, well, so don't forget about this devil's power. This is where, well, Riser whined his eyes. He didn't know who Vergil Sparda is, but that name is powerful. It carries power with the name. This is where, well, mostly Reyes was confused, but someone higher ups, mostly like higher ups, kind of whined their eyes when they heard the name Vergil Sparda. And devils who are right now, who are higher up in the whole world, mostly in the devil society, wind their eyes thinking that they're terrified, thinking that one of the Spartans are back, being that Vergil Sparda. And mostly Issei's hair turned white in an instant. His eye color also changes from one being blue and green. This is where instead of being goldenish brown, and this is where his hair went slick white, slick kind of white, like smooth as white. This is where, well, Issei says, "Let me show you the power of well, mostly Sparta. This is where, well, when what's it called? When what's it called? Riser heard about this name. This is where, well, he was confused until Issei disappeared from everyone's view and appeared behind Riser, sheathing the blade back into the sheath. And this is where, when Issei says, "Now, be gone. It's past your bedtime, you weakling of an arrogant ass child." This is where Riser right now turns behind, but this is where something happens. Everything around Issei right now shatters, destroying the rating game's entirety, the dimension. And this is where, well, everyone widened their eyes, and this is where, well, Riser was defeated. He was eliminated in an instant because the blade itself literally cuts through regeneration. And this is where Riser was actually eliminated also. This is where, well, Gracie says, Riser Phoenix has been defeated. The winner is Rias Grimmir's Parage and also Vergil Sparta. Also, dimension is collapsing. All of you must get out of there instantly. This is where, well, the ground right now shatters and everyone is falling down. This is where Rias right now winds her eyes until mostly the griffin lets go of her in an instant, saying, "You can fly, can't you? I'm not going to carry you all the way down, princess." This is where, well, mostly the griffin went towards Vergil, and that just grabbing him for mostly his right arm, and right now kind of just flying down to the ground. This is where everyone who is in Rias Parage right now summon her wings, but sees Issei right now being carried by the bird. Rias glares at the bird, but the bird doesn't give a damn, because, well, mostly he was just there to grab Rias before Riser can even appear and attack what's it called? Well, Rias and eliminate her. So yeah. So of course it was just orders. He doesn't need to fly her down or carry her or anything like that. Because Issei just says, "Just drop her after I just destroy reality." This is where, well, Issei is holding the, what's it called, Yamato by his like left hand, and this is where, when they kind of get down, the sword just went back into a double arm. This is where, or double bringer, don't worry about that. Double arm, double bringer, whatever, it's the same thing. Mostly, there's some people that say double arm, but some of them say double bringer, but don't worry about that. Issei kind of just falls down to the ground, lands on the ground after a smooth landing, like, mostly he lands on the ground, kind of having his, what's it called, left leg crouching down, and his right leg also kind of kneeling down, but this is where he gets up, and this is where, well, he then pushes his, like, hair behind him, because some bangs appears on his face, but then he pushed the one big bang that was in front of him. This is where, well, Issei says, well, or mostly he did push back the big bang that he had on his face, and this is where he pushed it back to looking straight up like Vergil Sparta. This is where, well, Issei says, such pathetic weaklings. This is where, well, Issei kind of tells Griffin to appear back, and this is where lightning kind of just appeared next to Issei, kind of being absorbed into his body. Issei then has the book still in front of him, and he's reading and walking away. Everyone looks dumbfounded, shocked, and seeing how powerful Issei has become. We go into someone's POV, and right now she's in her house, seeing the whole battle between Riser and mostly Issei, and this is where she grins with such a sinister, lustful grin. Every girl that's there actually do grin kind of with lustful grins. This is where, well, mostly a girl with blackish hair and kind of magenta eyes, she kind of just grins, but also kind of having lust in her kind of face, and kind of blushing also. Issei looks completely different, and this is where Issei's hair went back to brownish. It can, okay, so he has a control of his human powers and also his, what's it called, devil powers. So of course, it can literally, his human mostly self will have kind of brownish hair and golden eyes, while his devil side will kind of have his white hair, and of course, mostly these blue and green eyes, so don't worry about that. This is where, well, Issei starts kind of walking away without a care in the fucking world at all. This is where, well, Issei doesn't know where he's going, but he's just going somewhere. But yeah. He's waiting for mostly Rias Parage to hurry the shit up, but yeah, we go into a time skip of mostly a kind of, mostly congratulations on the whole battle between Riser Phoenix and mostly, who's it called, Riser Phoenix, and mostly, Rias Grimmir's kind of battle. Mostly Rias won, and of course, where, well, Surgex asked mostly Rias and what she wants, and Rias says that she doesn't want to marry Riser, and this is where, well, Surgex smiles, and this is where, well, Surgex then goes up to mostly the person named Vergil Sparta. Now, of course, where, well, everyone in the underworld will now know him as Vergil Sparta and not Issei or whatever he was kind of introduced, because he said it so proudly, with so much pride in his name, that it was for sure that his name was Vergil Sparta. Because it is. Mostly, I should have mentioned this, but we go into a flashback of mostly before Issei going towards what's it called, the orc, Issei kind of appeared right in front of what's it called, mostly his mother and his father. His father doesn't know much about the supernatural, but he got told by mostly his wife being Mika, and Mika kind of introduced mostly Issei's hidden kind of information, because the original name isn't Issei Hiro, it's actually Vergil Sparta. Mostly Vergil Sparta, the kind of like 5, but yeah, or mostly the second, because he is the second other person to have this name. And the reason why Mika kind of hid it from mostly Issei is because she didn't know how powerful he would be, but she only wished that mostly Issei would become powerful in the near future. So yeah, and now seeing her son, she was happy. She literally gave him the right to have, well, mostly changes mostly false name towards its actual real name. This is where, well, Issei smiles and mostly Mika and of course hugs her, and this is where, well, his father was crying, but this is where, well, mostly Dante kind of whispered into mostly Issei's father, saying, hey, you don't need to cry. You see here, Issei has lots of girls with him, or mostly after him, lusting after him, so you shouldn't be crying, you should be glad and happy. This is where, well, mostly Issei heard this, and even Mika. This is where Mika says, Issei? This is where Issei says, no, he's lying. It's complete bullcrapping at this point. Dante is drunk right now. Dante says, I am not drunk. This is where he sees a pan, a very angry and annoyed Mika appearing in her double trigger, and this is where she says, Dante, are you drunk? This is where she kind of putting the pan down to her hand and kind of smacking it pretty hard. And this is where, well, Dante starts running. Shit, you little brat. I'm going to kill you and next time I get my chance on you. This is where, well, Issei checks out. And this is where, well, Goto says, is that true, though? Issei says, kinda. I'm going on a date next week, mostly next Sunday, with 2 girls, or mostly 3 of them. I don't know how many, but yeah. This is where, well, Goto right now pats his son in the back and says, good job, Vergil. This is where Issei grins at his father's kind of remark and mostly calling him Vergil instead of Issei. This is where, well, Issei grins and yeah. Now we go back into mostly Issei. This is where, well, mostly Surgex appears right in front of Vergil, and this is where Surgex says, hello there, Vergil Sparta. This is where mostly Koneko, Kiba, and mostly Akuno bows down towards mostly Surgex, while Issei is just standing there and reading his poem. Now every devil who is kind of looking at this, who are high ranking but not that high ranking, kind of looks at Issei with narrow eyes, and Issei looks at them with mostly a glance of his power, mostly the Spartan power, scaring the shit of almost all of them. This is where, well, mostly Reyes kind of asks Issei to bow down towards her brother, until her brother says, no, the Spartans don't need to really bow down, because mostly the Spartans are quite powerful and can easily kill me if they want to. This is where, well, mostly Rhea seems shocked to see her brother kind of being nervous and kind of at the same time calm around Issei. This is where, well, Issei looks up and closes his book and says, that is true. The Spartan powers, are mostly the Spartan bloodlines, that is all true. The fact that we do not bow down towards the Devil King because we do not see anyone being above us. So that is very, very true. This is where, well, mostly Surgex says, but why did you help my sister? Well, I only help her just to get out of the marriage. I don't like, well, the marriage, and mostly someone else promised me something, but that's not the point. Issei said, other than that, I'm not in Rhea's Creamery's barrage. Her pawn pieces, which she revived me, and also you cheating, you little bitch. This is where, well, Issei kind of glares at Rhea, and Rhea's confused until Issei explains and why Issei calls her a bitch. Issei explains the whole kind of getting murdered by his ex, slash maybe back with his ex, but not the point. But mostly explaining that mostly Rhea's plan that he died during the mostly during his date of, well, Reina, instead of getting rid of her, but whatever. This is where, well, Rhea's kind of got very worried and nervous, and this is where when Surgex looks at Rhea's, Surgex says, is this true, Rhea's? Rhea's kind of glances down and says, yes, it is true. This is where, well, mostly Surgex seems disappointed in Rhea's and says, what am I going to do with you? This is where he looks at the Spartan and says, do you forgive her? No. This is where Issei says straight up with the hell no. This is where, well, mostly Surgex sighs and says, I see. Well, this is where, well, mostly Surgex says, you heard him. so he doesn't forgive you, and I might have to punish you later. This is where, well, Ria seems sad, but this is where, well, Issei says, also, I did use the Yamato to cut the, what's it called, palm pieces out of my body. So, that's the thing. Mostly, anyone that's a Spartan bloodline should be touching one of the blades to get rid of the palm pieces from their body. So, I'm basically no longer a part of a barrage. I wasn't even part of it for about like 4 weeks until I discovered what I am. This is where Sursex nodded and can see Issei's powerful. So of course, even tried to throw him back into Ria's barrage. That's not happening. The Spartan bloodline should not be threatened unless they want to be extinct, because they do not. Well, mostly what's it called? The Spartan bloodline has faster regeneration than a phoenix, has the ability to cut down people who even seem to be immortal, and has a part of the devil race in them, because, well, the Spartan mostly sword can cut down anyone and can also kill gods, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, this is where, well, mostly Sursex says, I see. Well, will you like anything? Issei says, I want 5 favors and that's all. This is where, well, mostly Sursex nodded, saying, okay. This is where Issei says, other than that, I'll be going home then. Issei right now makes a magic circle around him appear, and of course, it was a bluish magic circle that showed what's called the Spartan symbol. I will show you what the Spartan symbol kind of looks like later, but not the point. But this is where he disappears in an instant. Now, this is where, well, we go into Issei going back home. But for right now, I will leave it off here for part, what's it called, 5 of this what if, because I don't really have any more time no more. But other than that, bye, see you and bye. So yeah, bye.